Catalina today, coming to you with some student loan news updates that are interesting, as well as would love to talk about some of the house hack ideas for those who may have a property, want a property, or may think about looking for a property. What are some of the things I look for to optimize how to make money from the real estate I buy? So I want to share my personal experience at the end of this video after I go through some of the latest news. There's a lot of news coming out that is not related to student loans that are big social issues that I think really impact our generation, specifically women, like the overturning of Roe versus Wade at the Supreme Court level and making it a state level decision. That news yesterday really disturbed me. And there's some big news happening right now, but I don't want it to overshadow a lot of the student loan news that I know impacts our audience. So I'm going to share those items as well. And just happy to be here, to sit in front of you all. Of course, please comment on any questions you may have. And we just really want to be here to help as many people as possible get the information they need to make the right choices. Okay, so I'm going to try to minimize my screen here to talk through a little bit of news. Admittedly, I'm doing this on the fly, so I haven't read through all these articles like in complete detail. I just skimmed them, but I want to go over them. So here is, there's been a lot of news in terms of the progressive side of the Democratic Party pushing for $50,000 loan forgiveness, and Biden is in favor of $10,000, but eyeing an income limit cutoff. So right now they're eyeing $125,000, and what that means is that he said that he's considering taking executive action to relieve $10,000 of debt per borrower in a program that would be based on restricting income. I know my face is in the way. Let me move it here. So what that means is, yeah, he's looking at a $10,000 forgiveness, but only for people earning under $125,000, which makes sense. I mean, it's a program that is based on almost like the need. And of course, I want to also talk about like the financial need of the person. I also want to talk about some of the pushback I've read in other articles. There's not much to this article, but it is still news. And I want to talk about some of the pushback, right, that we've encountered, including, I'm going to share another article that actually has really, really good data. I don't know where that went because, it's letting me push back. So a lot of Americans, it's interesting, a lot of Americans are protesting the student loan relief because they believe it's a slap in the face for those who planned and saved. Essentially, they believe it's a slap in the face to those who have the financial monetary means to pay for college, which, by the way, the government has built programs for those who can afford to save. It's called the 529 plan. It's called the Coverdell Savings Program. So for those who can afford to save, they did benefit from tax relief and transfer of wealth programs to help cover the cost of college. So there are already in existence programs that help those that can afford to save for college. So I just want to put that out there because people with money, or oftentimes people who don't take out loans or have paid off their loans, say, well, how about us? We worked hard. Well, no, there are programs that also benefit people with the money to save. And I'm not trying to say that saving is bad, but also this argument that those that couldn't have afforded to save because they just don't make as much money, it's unfair, right? So I'm just showing you the other side of the point of view as well. And there's also an argument that college degrees boost your savings, so why should we bail out educated Americans? But there's also 4 in 10 that take out debt that don't get degrees, right? And by the way, I just want to show this chart and go over some other things I've been reading about that I'm not going to bring up articles on that I think are also interesting points of view. But if we cancel, let's say $5,000 per borrower, then the government would have to dole out about 207 billion, and that would cancel debt for about 19% of people. And if we cancel 10,000, then that would cost the government 371 billion, and that would cancel debt for about 36% of borrowers. So obviously, the more amount we cancel, the more the government will have to spend, and a larger percentage of people that the debt will completely erase, right? So I just wanted to point that out, because if we cancel 50,000, the government would have to spend 1.05 billion, but it would cancel debt for 80% of people. So if we stick at the 10,000, it'll be about 40% of people. And they believe that canceling 10,000 actually targets most people who will help relieve debt for those who got a degree paid for college without a degree, and it would target more of the individuals who don't have a degree, as well as those who have been paying off their debt and now have lower balances, right? So by creating the income limit, it will be able to target the people who more financially need it. So to combine the conclusion of both of these articles, and then of course, I want to bring up two other arguments I've been hearing a lot on the conservative side, which is we can't cancel debt without reforming our education system, because we're basically incenting universities to continue this broken system that has led to our accumulation of student loan debt, right? Which totally has a point. Like, we should reform the cost of college and we should reform the cost of college, right? We should reform what is leading the root of the problem, not just provide relief immediately, but how do we reform the root of the problem? Another working class perspective for those who advocate for working class people is, why don't we just give $10,000 to people who earn under a specific amount of money? And let's just set the threshold at $50,000. I'm just making this up. They haven't said 50,000. But if we say, hey, everybody that earns $50,000 or less will get $10,000, then it's a program for working class people, because 55% of Americans don't have college degrees. So it's a way to target those with credit card debt and other forms of consumer debt, including student loan debt, but that have an income threshold, who are working class Americans, right? So it's a way to provide relief to those who have accumulated other forms of debt, who may not have gotten a degree, and it doesn't favor the majority, like college educated or attempting to get college educated, mostly Democrats, right? So it's an opposing view that that can cover more working class people. And I see, of course, there's an interesting perspective in all these arguments, oppositions. We will see what comes down the pipeline in terms of what Biden decides on. But that's where it currently stands. I just wanted to give an update, because obviously that news is really important, especially if you're an individual that earns under 125,000 and an individual that earns over 125,000. It's all relevant news for us, right? And of course, the arguments that the president is hearing about debt relief, not debt relief, so on and so forth, is also very important. I really do believe, like I've said in previous conversations, that I do think the extension, from what I'm reading, like obviously this isn't news yet, will either be extended past August because of the midterm, or the president will decide on some form of relief by that date. So that is my prediction. Obviously, there's nothing that's come out to say that yet. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about those who own a property who are bummed out because the market, they can't buy another, or those who want to be first-time buyers and are bummed out the rising interest rates. I just do want to talk a little bit about my personal experience. And I did promise a tiny house tour once I get that. That'll probably be in about 2 months or so. I am putting a tiny house in my backyard. For those who haven't heard, it's a way to generate revenue from a pretty big backyard I'm not using. I mean, my dog will run back there. We'll hang our clothes back there. It's a really nice area. But I'm trying to figure out, how do I optimize that? So this past week, I had an electrician install additional plugs, including an RV plug. My tiny house will be using a 50 amp RV plug, upgrading my electric. The next thing I'm going to do is upgrade my plumbing to go to my backyard. Those are some of the legwork and steps I need to do to prepare. I just wanted to share that. Okay, so if that's not a consideration or you don't have a backyard, of course, what I also did is if individuals, like for me, for example, I know I don't have to live in a massive home. For me, me and my partner, we're fine with a smaller 3-bedroom. We don't need to have 3,000 square feet. So what we looked at when we were buying a home is looking at like a split floor plan, a bi-level, an open floor plan that has almost like an ability to separate sides of the home. So let me give an example. Our Michigan house is bi-level, and it had the kitchen on the downstairs initially, and it had 3 bedrooms on the top floor with the living room, and the bottom floor had the kitchen, another bedroom, and another bathroom. So what we did was we basically created we split it, right? The top, we blew out one of the bedrooms, installed a kitchen. So now we have a 2-bedroom apartment on top, and now we have a 1-bedroom with a full kitchen on the bottom. That's an example of splitting up one home, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home into 2 units, right? Into a duplex, essentially. My Florida home, it was 3 bedrooms with a I don't know if people are going to know what this reference is, but it's like a railroad bedroom where it's like people use it as an office where it's like walk through. It's like a room, but you could walk through to a bedroom, right? So they previously used it as an office. So what I did was I enclosed the wallway, made that office space walk through into a bedroom, and made the back bedroom into like a I installed a kitchenette and made it into a little living room, and it's off of a patio. So now I have a 1-bedroom apartment in the back of my home, and we live in my Florida home. We live in the front 2-bedroom, 1-bath. So that's a way. We live in the front 2-bedroom, 1-bath. We rent out separately our 1-bedroom in the back on Airbnb, and we have a huge backyard. So I'm installing a tiny home in the back. And the most exciting thing about the tiny house, in my opinion, that I'm really excited about is I'm installing an outdoor clawfoot bathtub. If you don't know what a clawfoot bathtub is, it's the cast iron bathtubs they built in like the 1920s that are super heavy and luxurious and big. And so I'm going to have an outdoor bathing, showering experience, of course, with privacy enclosures, to make the experience really lush for those staying in the tiny house. And like a true quintessential like Florida outdoor living experience, even though although you go inside your tiny house that has air and all the normal amenities, but we're about 8 blocks from the beach. And so that outdoor bathing experience is kind of cool. And also what I like about the outdoor bathing experience is that unlike a jacuzzi, you don't have to worry about like chemicals and cleaning it, because in every bath, they let out the water and the cleaner we can just clean it between guest stays, right? So it's like a better, more sanitized and cleaner environment for people, right? Rather than going into a jacuzzi, you have no idea who was in there last night, right? So that's why we decided to make that decision. Plus, my tiny house builder, she has 12 tiny houses on her property, and her tiny houses with the clawfoot bathtubs like just way outperformed in the short-term rental space. So I was like, that's a pretty smart idea, especially where we're at. So I just wanted to put kind of what my experience is out there. If you're looking to save up right now to buy a home and you'd love to think about ways to cash flow on the property you're going to buy, like looking at split floor plans or mechanisms to split your property is like an ingenious move if you don't need all the space. Obviously, if you have a family with 2 kids, it's different, right? That's not our situation right now. But a property I saw recently that was really interesting was it had an ability to split. Like it literally had a really big living room with like an archway that could have been enclosed, and the other side would have had a living room space, a living room space / kitchen, a seated area, and it had the master bath on that side as well. And I was like, wow. And it was on half an acre of land. So you could literally put multiple tiny homes in the backyard. And I'm like, oh my God, this property is so amazing, right? So I just share that as an example of like how to house hack or land hack in a way that optimizes the earning potential of a piece of real estate that you would buy for your own use. But how do you cash flow on it? How do you get the other side to basically pay your mortgage, right? How do you invest in improvements in the backyard to also help to not just pay the mortgage, but to exceed your earning power, right? So that over time, you can use that savings to potentially do that to another property. And that's kind of the strategy I've been taking, is like, let me house hack, let me land hack to optimize my earning per property. Then how do I save and use that to fuel down payment savings for the next, right? If you're interested, I'm happy to talk about like financials, like what I generate on some of these houses I house hack on, what my goals are in terms of generating passively outside of like my 9-to-5 job running LoanSense. I'm happy to share all those things as well if you're interested in learning. If you have layout of homes you want to share and even get my advice on how to split it, since now I've done it to several places, a couple for myself, and I've helped a couple friends do it to theirs as well. I'm happy to, if you send me a layout, I'm happy to give my advice as well. Just leave comments below if you like this content in addition to my student loan news. I have not thought, people have asked, why don't you create separate videos? Why don't you create separate channels? Things like that. I just don't want to create a separate channel and start all over. So, but if you like this content, please share. Please let me know. Please let me know the type of content you like. Obviously, I will always be updating on the student loan side of the world because it's extremely important. I will also be trying to put out more educational videos. We have tons of educational videos on student loans. If you are a student loan borrower and need educational videos, we have a ton of that content on our channel as well. Like, please search that out, but also let me know, do you want more educational content? Do you want more about real estate? And of course, I will always come with student loan news, no matter what the channel, no matter what information people request. So thank you so much for watching. If you're a student loan borrower, want to buy a house, don't really know what you can afford, don't know if you've been declined by a loan officer, and don't know if that's actually a decline or just they didn't understand all the rules of the student loan program, let us know. We've helped so many borrowers who have been declined buy a home. So do not let any loan officer decline for a mortgage stop you. It's about getting educated, getting prepared, and we are here to help you. MyLoanSense.com, you can get a plan for absolutely free. And we're here on standby. Let us know what your questions, comments. Please like and share this video. Thanks.